Hello. So it's been a long time since I've done any videos recently, but I'm back on track. Hopefully, I will be making more videos soon because in a few days or so, I should be on my way to college. Yep, B? Whatever. Anyway, okay, it's pretty, like, I'm gonna, like, turn this light off, so don't mind me. Hmm. Okay, this is like, okay. I can barely see you. Oh, just whatever. Alright, so yesterday I went to the movies with my mom, and guess what I saw? Well, of course, the tag of this video is called Straight Out of Compton, so you already know it was Straight Out of Compton. And honestly, I had no plans of seeing the movie in theaters because of last year when I made a video about the racist casting call of Straight Out of Compton, because some white women had sent out a list of the types of women that they wanted in their movies. So there were the A girls, the B girls, the C girls, and the D girls, and it was by ranking. So the A girls were the best girls and the D girls were the worst. Basically, as you guys may have heard, or as some of you guys may have not heard, basically the A girls, you were supposed to be white or a non-black woman of color with natural long hair. You were supposed to be considered pretty, like the best of the best. The B girls, okay, so it's pretty much the same as the A girls, only light skinned girls, could be in it, those of African descent. And then the C girls are the girls like my color, brown skin or light skinned black girls to brown skin. Were considered the more, like, pretty much like low middle class type of girls, like, okay, like, whatever, like, you guys are average black girls. And then the D girls were pretty much the worst of the worst, dark skin, fat, and just out of shape. And it was very fat phobic, very colorist, to basically imply that being dark skinned, having weave, because I think with the A girls category, it was like you couldn't wear any weaves. And the B girls, I wasn't so sure, but I don't think you could wear weaves either. The C girls, okay, you guys couldn't wear weaves. Then the D girls is like, okay, you guys are ghetto, you guys are poor, dark skin, you wear weaves and all of that extra film makeup and all of that feminine stuff that, film black girls are into. So naturally, I was like, I am not going to see this movie, or at least I'm not going to pay for this movie, because why would I support such a blatant misogynistic and colorist casting choice? So, of course, a year later, people are talking about Straight Out of Compton, and it got a lot of great reviews. A lot of people said it was the best movie ever. So I was thinking, well, if I'm going to see this movie, it's going to be bootlegged. I'm going to, like, see it on some website where they share the movies. So that didn't happen, of course. My mom was like, oh my God, I have to see this movie. We have to go see it. So, me thinking I have nothing else to do, why not? I can eat popcorn and be entertained, whatever. It's probably not as bad as I think it may be. I could actually really like it. And to my disappointment, I was wrong. It was exactly how I assumed it would be back in 2014 when I made that video. And there were some parts where it was good. I mean, it was interesting with the police brutality, the relationship between Eazy-E and Jerry Heller, because at one point I was an NWA fan. I was a huge fan of Eazy-E, and I still have somewhat of a soft spot for that era of my life. It certainly was not an exciting scene to see Eazy-E literally die of AIDS. That wasn't a scene that I, particularly thought, was good for my sensitivity, because unfortunately I have a heart. So even though Eazy-E was kind of a piece of shit, sexist, and homophobic asshole, it certainly was not fun seeing him die and his wife being devastated and all of his brothers, who have been with him since 1987. I just got a new message, but I can't see it right now because I am doing this video. So you're just going to have to wait. but basically it's Eazy-E's biopic. I first heard of Straight Outta Compton probably in 2012 because, you know, I was like, Eazy-E is awesome, he was cute, you know, he has some killer tracks, you know, I love Eazy-E, so yes, I am excited about Straight Outta Compton. It wasn't until that casting call when I was like, maybe it's not such a good idea. You know, back then when I was an Eazy-E and NWA fan, you know, I still had some issues with internalized misogyny, so I didn't really understand, you know, how detrimental their lyrics were for black women. You know, now that I hear the lyrics, well, what about the bitch that got shot? Fuck her. You think I give a fuck about a bitch? And something like that, you know, in a song talking about classism and even police brutality towards black men, and you could see that NWA certainly was not an intersectional group. Although they talked about police brutality, it was for the protection of cis hetero black men, men who are cisgender and heterosexual, but they certainly didn't give a damn about anyone else in the black community except for, you know, the light-skinned women that they ended up pursuing. And I guess Ta-meeka is supposed to be a C girl, like basically Dr. Dre's girlfriend. I believe is it Nicole? I'm not sure. Like, she was a very racially ambiguous, almost white passing woman. And I looked her up. Apparently, she's mixed. I mean, I saw her with curly hair, so she could very well be a biracial woman. But from the movie, I thought she was perhaps a non-black Latina or just a plain-ass white woman. Like, that's how racially ambiguous she was. Ta-meeka, who is a real woman who actually co-produced the film, she was played by a racially ambiguous woman, and I don't remember Ta-meeka being that racially ambiguous. I remember her being light-skinned, probably resembling someone of Faith Evans' aesthetics, but certainly not someone where I would wonder if she were black or not. Like, it was pretty obvious she was a light-skinned black woman, and I didn't know Ice Cube had been married to his wife for so many years, since 1992. And when I saw Alexandra Shipp in that role, I was like, oh my fucking god, like, I can't get fucking rid of her. I don't like Alexandra Shipp. Like, ever since that Aaliyah movie, which was a disaster, I've been trying to avoid her. Ever since I saw her in that role in, what's that show? Drumline. I was like, God, I'm going to call it. She's going to be this light-skinned actress who's going to, like, take over all the roles, and everyone thinks that, oh my god, this is representation for all black girls because she's black, right? But it's like, it's the same formula. Light-skinned, biracial, half-white actress playing black girl characters and thinking that that speaks for all girls. No, it's like you're only speaking for light-skinned, biracial girls. You don't represent everyone, and that's okay. Just don't pretend you represent everyone. But I don't really have an issue with the fact that they were pretty much accurate to Ice Cube's wife, because his wife looked just like Alexandra Shipp. But I have an issue with her considering she seems to like to play roles which was heavily influenced by colorism. She loves to play movies that, you know, were inherently colorist and misogynistic towards black women. The Leo biopic, where Aaliyah definitely was not racially ambiguous. She was close to a medium brown woman who may have had some narrow features, but she certainly was not a racially ambiguous black girl. She was a brown-skinned black girl. And then she's playing Storm, who was a dark-skinned girl in, I don't want to get it wrong because I'm not really into comics. I believe X-Men. Shoot me if I'm wrong, but I believe it is X-Men. Sorry, I'm kind of ignorant when it comes to the whole comic book fandom. But it's like, she's taking a lot of roles that's like pretty much erasive towards darker skinned black girls. So even though I'm sure she's not actively saying, yeah, I want the roles that are supposed to be for dark skinned black girls, she is clearly enabling this ideal that as long as you're a black girl, it doesn't matter if you're light skinned or biracial. Okay, I'm getting pretty much off topic about Straight Outta Compton, but basically the whole premise of the film is NWA's life, and my criticisms of the film was that there were too many light-skinned girls and there was too much sexism throughout the film, but they did it in a comedic light. Like, I was thinking, wow, I thought we kind of got past this whole let's make misogynoir comedic. I thought people were becoming more educated, but it's like this film took a few years backwards. Even faggot was even utilized in the movie. I'm like, damn, this is 2015. And not in an ignorant type of way, but it's like I thought movies were getting more politically correct. But it's like this movie took several years backwards. I understand it's 1988, so that's how they were thinking back then, but it was just weird just seeing everything that I am totally against just be portrayed in the movie. And then the worst part is we're actually supposed to look at these guys as these likable people. Like honestly, aside from the fact that they made good music and they stood for quite a few things, these weren't people that you would seriously consider having a conversation about racism and sexism and misogyny in 2015. These weren't likable men. Like outside of the music that they made, you couldn't really see yourself being in their circle outside of just wanting to party and have a good time. But you know, as a womanist, if you wanted to have a deep discussion with these men about intersectionality and interracism, they would not have been good people to have a conversation with about, because their politics were pretty much skewed. And for those who said the movie was good, I don't really see what was so great about the movie outside of, yeah, it was NWA. A lot of us are nostalgic of hip hop, but I don't think the movie was particularly that great. And to those who do think the movie was great, you know, good for you, but it was quite long, longer than necessary. I understand biopics, they have to put everything in about someone's life, but it was way too long. And I was thinking, because I knew I was following the timeline, I had a feeling it would end at 1995. I was thinking, okay, 1993, so we have a couple of more years. The movie should be over soon. And sure enough, when Eazy-E was told that he had AIDS and, you know, he had only 6 months to live, with which, here's a fact, Eazy-E died 2 weeks after he found out that he had AIDS. And honestly, I am not a conspiracy theorist, but I just think maybe Jerry Heller or even Suge Knight may have had something to do with it, because Suge Knight, I was surprised they actually portrayed Suge Knight, you know, as this, you know, piece of shit person. And I know they, you know, toned it down. Like, I've heard worse things about Suge Knight, but I'm thinking Suge Knight is going to be mad, because honestly, Suge Knight was so tough in the movie, he didn't even actually carry out the violence. And honestly, Suge Knight is the type of person that could actually do it. He just didn't do it. But, you know, I did think the casting was pretty accurate. All the men looked the same. In fact, the guy that played DJ Yella, I thought, wait, is that really DJ Yella playing him? Maybe DJ Yella, who is pretty much irrelevant. No offense, but you know, who remembers DJ Yella outside of hardcore NWA fans? You know, even when I was listening to NWA back in like 2011 or 2012, I was like, who is this light skinned man? Like, just like he doesn't say anything. Like, the only important people were like, I mean, as far as you know, the most memorized people were Dre, Easy, and Cube. And then there was MC Ren, which actually I am so surprised MC Ren didn't have a bigger role, because, you know, he was actually a co-rapper. Like, actually, if you listen to NWA's music, MC Ren pretty much rapped the most, especially on the second album. It was either Ice Cube, MC Ren, and sometimes Eazy-E. Eazy-E was a sometimes rapper, and even Dre, but most of the time it was either Ice Cube or MC Ren leading the pack of the group. So even though he did have a part, it just wasn't really focused on him. And I know a lot of people don't remember MC Ren either, but still I would think they would actually, you know, talk more about his impact with the group, because he wasn't like DJ Yella, who was just completely irrelevant to casual NWA fans. To casual NWA fans, I can see him being irrelevant. To like the hardcore NWA fans, I can see him like just being just as important. But you know, I can understand when someone were to be like who the heck is that? Like, who is he? Like, because when they said, you know, such and such, aka DJ Yella, you know, of course, people would think like who is that? I knew who he was, but he wasn't someone where, oh yeah, you know, he was like the best of the group. But basically, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I just want to say that it was a disappointment because I was hoping that it would be a lot better than I thought it was. I didn't expect the misogyny to be that rampant, but there was one scene where they try to incorporate Friday by having Ice Cube say "Bye, Felicia," where this this man comes to the apartment where they are having a party. All the girls are butt naked, having sex, oral sex, all of that. Like, you betcha, it's all this debauchery at Eazy-E's hotel. And this man comes in and he's like, I'm looking for Felicia. They are all like, who the heck is Felicia? I don't know. Like, oh, okay. Then he pulls out the gun. So then they go looking for Felicia, and Felicia is giving head to Eazy-E, and they're like, your man has a gun. So I'm worried about Felicia, like, oh crap, Felicia gonna get her ass kicked. Felicia gonna get shot or something, because I'm not even worried about NWA. Do you know how men treat women, especially black men treat black women, or a lot of times when they are caught cheating or something like that? So I was worried about some domestic abuse type of thing. Like that was my type of logic. So then Eazy-E like pulls out a gun or something, and like they all chase them down the hallway, and then they drove Felicia naked with her like boobs all out, and like she was a dark skinned girl. So it's like, okay, like that was some messed up crap to me. Like that was really messed up because one, like he had a gun, like she could have like anything could have happened to her, just to throw her out like that in a hotel, and that's supposed to be funny. Like, I think a lot of people don't think critically, so that's of course something where people are like, oh, it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal to me because I like to think about these stuff, because you're sitting here absorbing all of this information and you think, okay, this is funny. So when you finally hear something in real life happen, you think, oh, haha, like it's funny because she shouldn't have been cheating and getting buck wild with some rapper. So it was like, that's not a funny scene to me. I didn't particularly enjoy where when they were looking for Felicia, they threw one light skinned girl on the bed and she's like, ah! Like she yelps, and it's like, what the heck? Like these women are literally treated like they are just props. Yes, I understand this is a biopic. This was their lifestyle, but the least you could do is say that that's wrong. But you made it like it was okay, and people are coming out saying this is a beautiful movie. But you're not sitting there saying, oh yeah, the misogyny was bad, the colorism was bad. Early on in the film, a black woman gets thrown across the room because a police, some sort of FBI thing or whatever, rams into the house. The ram like just smashes into her, throws her against the wall. Like just this is very early on in the film, and I knew that would happen. I don't even know why that even happened. It was like black women were literally treated just like shit in the movie. The only women that you saw portrayed in a humanized light were light-skinned women, and this is the truth. Like the only women that got a speaking role and were looked at as close to NWA's equals were the three girlfriends. And there was one particular scene when Eazy-E was talking to Dr. Dre. He has this little narrow-nosed, light-skinned girlfriend because she was so racially ambiguous. She looked white. She looked like a white woman. She was sitting there smiling, and then he's with his light-skinned girlfriend, Tomika, at the pool. And it's like, oh, they found their girls, but they're all light skinned, they're all uniform. So it's like, yes, we're bonding over the fact that we come up from the ghetto and we got these light skinned women. But I believe Tomika is a little bit different, where Eazy-E knew Tomika since childhood or since they were teenagers. So Tomika is probably someone, you know, that came from a similar background. I don't know about Dr. Dre's girlfriend because they didn't mention Michelle or Dee Barnes. You know, Dre treated Michelle like crap, punched her in the face, broke her nose. He punched Dee Barnes because Dee Barnes gave a scathing interview of Dr. Dre, which Eazy-E promptly said, yeah, the bitch deserved it. All of NWA were pretty much mocking Dr. Dre. Or not Dr. Dre, but Dee Barnes. So of course they weren't going to mention how Dr. Dre was an abusive misogynist, you know. And it's fine that you like NWA. If you like NWA, if you like their music, that is fine. But let's talk about misogyny. And apparently the thing is, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, all of them obviously have not learned. They don't want to repent for their misogynistic ways. It's just like, yeah, we were like this, but we changed after we met our light-skinned girlfriends, that somehow we saw their womanhood and were able to treat them like real women or whatever. But the dark-skinned women from the beginning of the movie, where they're just chilling at the house, drinking a 40, having a good time, you know, basically at the beginning of the film, I guess I kind of understand a casting call where maybe the A girls were supposed to be considered light skinned and white and beautiful. So to depict how a lot of times when black men are successful, they move on to the A girls. And then at the beginning, there was the D girls that were just like chilling with them, drinking beer, drinking a 40, having a great time. Something like that. And then they move on up. As soon as they get to the mansion, we have light-skinned girls, white girls, joining the bandwagon, rich black men, rich dark-skinned black men with wide noses. We don't care. We just want their money. And it's like no one wants to, critique that. It's like the saying, oh, men like being used. No, they like being used by women they feel are socially acceptable. They don't want to be used by dark-skinned women that they consider ugly, because those dark-skinned women at the beginning, I'm sure, would be called gold diggers if they were to come up to them in maybe 1992 when they were living in their fancy mansions. But those light-skinned women apparently weren't gold diggers. Like, where does that fit? The Kim Kardashian type. And I'm just mixing words together, but I'm trying to make this review as quick as possible. But basically, in the beginning, you see quite a few dark-skinned girls just hanging out with them, having a good time. They're all pretty. They're not ugly. Pretty girls, And then later on, okay, you see more lighter-skinned girls. And then at the party, you see mostly white girls, light-skinned girls. Like, you see lighter bodies. As the film progresses, you see lighter bodies. And I think they did that on purpose. But I don't think they really tried to say, hey, this isn't okay. Misogyny isn't cool. We were supposed to like them. It's like, okay, so what? Eazy-E was a homophobe and he's transphobic as well, because that line in Neighborhood Sniper, oh yeah, the bitch had a dick. I had to pull it up her skirt because this was one faggot I had to hurt, So, that's pretty bad. Trans misogyny. I don't know, like, do I think you need to see this movie to understand hip-hop and NWA? Basically, I know all there is to know about NWA. As someone who is coming off as a hater of NWA, I know everything about NWA, or at least most of them, because I've done all my research since 2011 when I was still a fan. Boys in the Hood was on heavy rotation. If you are a hardcore NWA fan or someone who knows a lot about NWA, I think it's a good movie for you to see. But if you're someone like me who is a critical fan, who isn't a fan of misogyny by any stretch of the imagination, I think you should wait a while to see the film if you must see it. I'm kind of glad I saw it in theaters instead of online, because the movie was long. The movie was pretty long. It was nearly 3 hours long. And I probably would have turned it off because there were several times where I was just completely annoyed. I was annoyed that there were so many light-skinned women. Like, DJ Yellow was like the only light-skinned black man, but you got light-skinned women every fucking where. And I'm like, okay, colorism alert right there. Misogyny alert. Anti-black misogyny. But yeah, people are continuously saying that I should like this movie, just because it was so beautiful. Yeah, because you think police brutality is something that only cis black men face. Cis het black men face. And you only see blackness as a male experience. Every time black men talk about blackness, it's from a male perspective. Like, blackness is something that affects men. Like, people think dark skin is something masculine. People think blackness is something masculine. So as someone had said, when light-skinned women said they would love a dark-skinned fella, it's because they already know that their lightness and feminization of light skin will be juxtaposed to the masculine body of a dark man, while dark skinned women are being treated like cis men, and trans and dark skinned cis black women, and all of them get the end of the the short end of the stick when it comes to that. And then you have light-skinned men considered feminine or soft, which, light-skinned male privilege is still a thing, but it's like patriarchy where, oh, okay, light-skinned women are feminine and they are the cream of the crop, but any man that's a threat to me, oh yeah, I'm going to put him in his place. And that's all that hyper-masculinity and just that ideal of, this can affect black women, but it won't affect black men. It won't affect my dark self, but it's going to affect a dark woman. Just this whole thing, and this whole movie got me thinking how crap colorism is. It really is. But anyway, 6 out of 10. Take it or leave it.